Hi, I'm Evita Myriam, and as I was driving tonight going somewhere, I was thinking how incredible pranic killing is. Of course, pranic killing really is my life, so I think of it all the time, and sometimes I think of how incredible it is, and how incredible it is that not everyone is using it, right? Millions of people have healed through pranic healing because there are almost a million, at least 500,000 pranic healers all over the world. And I've been doing healings for 15 years every day, so I can imagine that millions of people have been healed by pranic healing. And, I was thinking of a common response I get from people who have no idea about it, which is okay, of course. They say, but you need to believe in it, right? You have to believe for it to work. So that is a common fallacy. People, I don't know how I answer usually, you need to be receptive. But I don't know how to explain. I have to try to explain to you how wrong this is. Because in reality, all right, you don't have to believe in something that you don't know about. How can you believe in something you don't know about? Pythagoras said you have to verify everything through your own mind and find proof. Um, so this is how it works. All right, let me explain to you why you don't have to believe in it. Let's say you have a tobacco addiction. All right, you smoke. You want to quit smoking. So I would tell you as a pranic healer, not every pranic healer is 100%. Not everyone is like me. We are all individuals, but we have definite guidelines. Now I follow those guidelines. Sometimes I give a bit extra, I mean, my own point of view, right? Of course. So, or a bit more, which is not always good. But for example, to someone who has a smoking addiction, I will say to them that, look, I will heal you if you come with a firm decision to stop smoking. In that case, you may think, okay, if I have a firm decision to stop smoking, I can do it myself. Yeah, perhaps you can, perhaps not. But what will happen if you come with a firm decision to stop smoking is that I can help you. um, I can clean all these negative energies. I don't want to say too much that are affecting your related, areas like your ajna, your minor jaw chakra, chakras, your throat, right, the back of your head, all this. And I will do, all the solar, heart, and um, and crown chakra. And all these will be removed from the whole head. They may be removed from the hands. They may be removed from the mouth, they will be removed. And then I will shield these chakras for a week, let's say, so that for this week, it will be very easy for you to resist. Very easy. When I say very easy, you'll have to have really no willpower to not resist. But if you have a firm decision, you will cut smoking, because if you see that it's very easy to resist and you do a few healings, so you do for 2-3 weeks healings, then it's going to be, you will stop smoking because the body will be um, not addicted anymore, and the mind will know that it's easy. So what will happen is that, you will have stopped smoking. Now, I also will give you things to read. I will suggest what to read in order to want to stop smoking permanently and not to find smoking as an excuse, not to find grief or a problem in the future or a breakup or whatever as an excuse to start smoking again. I mean, I used to smoke and I stopped entirely, totally and permanently smoking after reading this book. And I was not even a chronic killer yet. It's called The Easy Way to Stop Smoking by Alan Carr. It was a very simple book. I read it in 1 or 2 hours and it changed my life. It cuts all the psycho emotional knots that keep us bound to smoking as if we're slaves. So this is an example. It's like you don't have to believe, but you have to keep an open mind or have a firm decision. It's like you want to lose weight. Yeah, you come to me for weight loss. So if you go to the supermarket, I say diet. The diet happens in the supermarket, not at home. If you go to the supermarket and to the delicatessen and this and that, and you stuff your home with things that you should be eating, even if I heal you and I make you one size smaller, it's not going to, change anything because you have to just not eat also, right? But I'm going to make it easier for you to not eat, and I'm going to reduce the size and tighten the muscles. This is what pranic healing does. You need to cooperate, right? Of course, you may compare this to traditional Western medicine and say, hold on, if I have a headache and I get a pill, my headache passes. Yeah, it does. It does. But does the cause of the headache pass? It doesn't. So you don't have to believe, you take the medicine, you don't have to believe and it passes. But what passes is the symptom. The cause doesn't pass. Headache is usually inner conflict between the heart and the mind. People who suffer from headaches are people who are conflicted about something. But that's a psychological explanation, right? I don't know what is happening in their brain, the blood flow. Usually it's stress in the solar plexus, etc. So I believe that people should get to know the cause of their problems. Like, for example, if someone has hypertension, there can be a million causes for hypertension, right? I will heal their hypertension because look how pranic healing works, all right? When you have hypertension, there is this chakra, which is meaning chakra is an energy wheel, it's an energy organ, and an energetic organ that we cannot see with our eyes unless we're clairvoyant. And it moves, it inhales fresh energy and it exhales dirty energy. So the solar plexus chakra here is the one that gets stressed with whatever stresses us, whatever, all fear, stress, hatred, anger, jealousy, all negative emotions affect us here. So when this gets, you know, dirty because of the negative emotions, because the quality of the emotions produce a certain filth, energy filth or cleanliness, if you think positively, etc., you're sparkling, with light. But if you're thinking negatively, what happens is that your solar plexus chakra gets clogged, it gets congested. And this makes it empty at the same time, right? Because it doesn't receive any more fresh energy. So it's like used up, very dirty energy in the solar plexus. We feel full, but in reality, we are full of nothing. We are empty. We need energy. So what happens is that the main chakra, which is a small chakra behind our navel, which regulates the pressure, the blood pressure, yeah, right? The blood pressure. So what happens is this main, this little smaller chakra, it gets big, trying to find energy in order to bring it to the body. And this is in order to feed the next chakra, which is the back solar, which communicates with the front solar. So it's seeking energy. The body needs energy because the solar plexus is giving energy to all the lower chakras. So, the main is seeking energy, so it gets big. So when the main gets big all the time, it stops being, it gets out of shape. It becomes bigger than normal. And this is like a valve, a safety valve that moves the energy upwards to the head. So when this gets out of order, what happens is that people get a high blood pressure. They may have a stroke even, So It's very easy. We just clean the solar plexus, right? We clean the heart, we energize the solar, the heart. We, clean the main, we make it smaller. We regulate it, We clean the head, the spine, everything, and the person is safe. Now, it would be great if we could do one healing, right? If no belief, no, not belief, no open minds was necessary, if no change was necessary, then we could do one healing, right? It would be amazing. I would just charge €1,000 and I would per healing, and people would come and I would heal their hypertension, their big prostate, their heart attack, whatever, it would heal with one healing. But it's not possible because uh, the person is not changed. I mean, animals change with one healing, right? With one healing. Why do animals change? Often with one healing, and they get healed. And humans require a month of healing or more because the mind is advanced in the human, and the mind is a disbeliever. So the mind is used to also its patterns, right? So a person who has hypertension usually is someone who is very stressed, has anxiety, has all these feelings, which we remove. We remove the negative emotions, but this is a habit. It's everywhere in their home. I clean their home. But still they're used to these emotions and they miss them sometimes, right? So they will go and find these emotions. They will look at the horror film or the thriller, or they will argue, or they are, for example, I'm not saying about my patients in general, human beings, me too, all of us. They may be, skeptics, and they mistrust their neighbor, and they're like, this person is trying to steal me, this person is jealous of me. They're meeting all this negative energy all around. So they're receiving all these negative things back. They're quarrelsome, perhaps, or they get very afraid and very stressed about the future. So all these habits, emotional habits, will get the solar plexus dirty again. So what we do is we do 2 healings per week, and then the energy body gets used to being clean, and the person starts believing that they're good. You know what I mean? They're better people. They're better. They're lighter. They're happier. They're calmer. They sleep better. They are more peaceful. So this changes them, in many ways. Of course, if you want to find the root of your fear and your anxiety, you have to go to the shrink. You have to go to the psychiatrist, to the psychoanalyst. You have to think. You have to become aware of yourself. So, as a pill for depression is a solution that is going to make you dependent and depressed, perhaps more. And I don't know what it does to your organs, but it's not healing the root cause. In the same way, pranic healing may heal the illness, and but in the process, it will help you get more in touch with the root cause, because it is like an onion. It cleans you, and new things come because it's in the energy body. It goes to the emotions, it goes to the mind, and as you heal, new ideas come, memories come. You process things more. It's not something that is so. It's pranic healing is not so um, subtle as people think. People think we are like blessing, and it's just, we're like meditating and praying, and then we bless, and bzzz, the person gets well. No, that's not how it works. If you know how a pranic healer feels their hands when they heal, that's why we use crystals. I use a big crystal so I don't feel so much the dirty energy. We feel the energy. This is what our training is, and we know the type of energy. We can tell cancer energy, we can tell low self-esteem, insecurities. We can tell different qualities of energies. So when we remove the dirty energy, it's a very itchy, foamy, but we can feel something, very definite. To us, it's not blessing. No, blessing. We bless the earth, but not the patient. It's different. So we remove that. Then we have to clean our hands, and then we have to spray our hands, our crystal, everything. And then we energize with fresh prana, which we know where to take from, which chakra, which player, which color, which combination, if it's anti-inflammatory, if it's regenerational, or whatever. So it's not so, abstract as people think. It's a spiritual science. It has protocols. I mean, my teacher, Master Choco Ksui, he tested all the protocols to himself on his body. And when I say tested, I mean he did the protocols again and again to see the effects. So he's so accurate. Sometimes he says 3 healing breaths, 3 to 1 chakra. And if you put 2 or 4, it's a totally different outcome. It's so sometimes I wonder at his accuracy, you know, when he says 1 green and 5 this and that, he knows exactly how much it needs. He knows. I mean, it is incredible. And we have protocols. We know exactly what to do. It's not like, oh, I'm going to bless you and you will have a. No, if I bless you and you have a heart attack, it may make you worse. People, think that to receive a lot of energy is good. It's not always good. Even if you're empty of energy, you still need to clean the dirty energy for the fresh energy to come in. So that's what we do. We know exactly what we're doing. We know how to regenerate an organ, how to stop a hemorrhage. It's a different process, a different method, a different technique. Pranic healers get immense experience out of daily healings for decades. And can you imagine how much experience, how many different human beings? And yet these protocols are accurate. But what happens is that because we're all unique, each patient is different. And although you have done 1,000 times, no, 1,000, let's say 50 times the same protocol, or 10, perhaps I'm exaggerating, not 50 times. I don't think I've done anything 50 times. There are many protocols, but let's say 10, right? Or 20 times the same, illness. Still, when each person is so different, so unique that you can intuit. This is an intuitive process. That is what is a bit abstract about it. And it's good for us. We enjoy that because we download knowledge about the person while we're healing them, and information comes, and we're like, we know if the person has had, parents that have been abusive, or if they have a lot of pain. We don't know exactly what happened. If we don't pry. I don't pry. Yeah, I don't want to know everything. But I know if the person has been, I know how they feel. It's like you're connected with them and you feel how they feel. And then information comes. So I believe that pranic healing psychotherapy, for example, is amazing because it can remove your depression, make you full of joy because it boosts your basic chakra, and it cleans you like an onion, layer by layer, things come out, and it enables the patient to see the cause, the root cause, and with the gentle and subtle guidance of the healer, who is often very intuitive and can, see the root cause, but without gaslighting the person, telling them what the root cause is and what you just ask. And the people get very, very quick healing. They see everything. And it's always nice to help a person feel good about themselves and feel that, remove guilt and shame, and understand that we're all human beings in the same boat, on the same planet, and we all have sinned, as Master Nana says, one of the masters. We all have sinned. We're all sinners. We have all made mistakes. We have all, there's no one perfect. And if there's someone who thinks they're perfect, just haven't lived yet. They haven't evolved yet. So we all have made mistakes and we're learning. That's why we're here. And we're all unique. So chronic healers also learn, they have an ethics code, that makes them not judge others. We don't judge others. We learn, I mean, we judge our friends. It's horrible what I'm saying. It's true. I mean, it's not possible to not judge, at all in your mind. One of your friends does something that is not nice, they treat you badly or something, you will judge them, right? But you will judge them in a way that will, and afterwards you will decide to exercise, but you will exercise understanding and then you will forgive them. And of course, you will never see them again if they have betrayed you, right? I mean, inner forgiveness, outer bye-bye. But it's the same with the patients. There is this non-judgment, We understand that humanity has grown. And now we have to move past all this. We have to move toward an era where we will, accept one another instead of flaunting our superiority all the time to others, and our amazing status. It's not nice. Status is, you know, has to be moved a bit. It's not acceptable. All right, so that's what I want to say about pranic healing. And obviously, I love pranic healing, right? It has given me a world in which I may live, a whole world. I understand the world better. I can heal myself and my friends and everyone and my patients and clients. I know what to do in order to attract prosperity, in order to be happy. And, I understand how the world works and how the cosmos works to a certain extent. So that's wonderful. So don't be so closed-minded to those who are, right? Don't be, if you're a doctor, for example, right? I know many doctors. Some of them know that pranic healing is amazing, but of course, they're not allowed to collaborate with us. Um, but um, but if you're a doctor, for example, it would be wonderful if you learned and you just knew that this exists. You can stop an internal hemorrhage. Isn't that nice? Isn't it nice to be? I mean, I understand that some things, some professions would be really extinct if, or not used much, if pranic healing was in hospitals. I mean, you would only operate on the heart if there was a trauma, a physical trauma. There are other ways to heal the heart. There are other ways to heal the kidneys before dialysis. After dialysis is more difficult, but it's also possible. I mean, there are many ways, most illnesses are easy to heal. So it would be nice if the world opened its mind to pranic healing. We even have a research institute, we have proved that that pranic healing helps cells heal faster. And I mean, we have, we must have millions of protocols, that of testimonials altogether, the pranic healers, millions of protocol of testimonials. So, you know, it's like when you watch the news and you hear people talk about geopolitics and this and that, and we will, occupy this place and buy this place and do that, and you're like, okay, and you're only talking about the economy, you're not considering the human beings, the animals, the plants, the planet, the scope, the the objective of humanity, happiness, right? Beauty, harmony, peace. That's the objective, isn't it? And people just accept, everything as it is. Not the common people. They don't accept at all, But in the news, you see the anchor people, you see a lot of, of as if it's in a matter of factly way, people talk about what is the status now. Well, this has to change, and it has to change in healing as well. There are so many modalities, so many amazing, amazing um, ways to heal a human being. One of them is pranic healing. To me, it's the best. If I know a better one, I will learn it. It's the best. Anyway, of course, if something happens to a human being and they're in a car accident, they will have to go to the hospital and receive emergency care. Of course, if there were a pranic healer in the hospital, it would be great for them. Great for them. So that's about pranic healing and my thoughts about the future that we are going toward. We have everything we need to make a beautiful world of peace, of beauty, of harmony. I wish it to all of us to live in such a world. I live in such a world. I wish it to you too. Take care. Happy New Year.